Hello everyone, my name is Loko and welcome to a new video. Now if you're anything like me, you're probably thinking about picking up Diablo 3 again, right? The expansion Reaper of Souls is gonna come out very soon, but there's a lot of stuff that has actually changed since the last time you've played. Personally, I got a Barbarian, I completed Inferno, and after that I sort of didn't really play the game anymore because I didn't get the point. But now the expansion is coming out, I figured it's a good time to pick the game back up. So Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls explained, we're gonna go over all the big changes that are happening to the game and what you need to know in order to start playing efficiently again. So with Reaper of Souls there is a whole lot of things that Blizzard actually decided to change. There's a couple that are really big, a couple of minor ones, but first and foremost let's talk about the actual story. As you all know, there's currently 4 acts out in the game, but Reaper of Souls will add a 5th act, which basically goes on right after the 4th act has ended. Basically what the story is about, there's an angel that is trying to get the Black Soul Stone where Diablo's soul is stored in and all the other demon souls and all that. That is basically where the story ends with Diablo 3 and where it will get picked up with the Reaper of Souls expansion. Now that is all fine and you might have guessed this part, but let's talk about actual changes with the expansion. Blizzard decided to completely overhaul the loot system in Diablo 3. As you might know, in Diablo 3 they introduced an auction house. That thing will be gone completely. Right now it is still up, but it will be closed, and it will actually mean that every single item that you want to wear on your character, you will need to get dropped yourself. Now with the removal of the auction house, Blizzard also decided to change the actual loot system, where you get much more class-specific drops. Let's say I'm actually playing a Barbarian and I have a mighty belt, I will not be able to get an intellect roll on that anymore, because it is simply completely useless and we will not really be using that ever, right? Besides that, they made items a lot easier to understand, whereas right now there's a whole list of actual values to a certain item. After Reaper of Souls comes out, it will actually mean that there's 2 stats, pretty much. There's primary stats and there's secondary stats. Now with primary stats you will see things such as strength, intellect, fatality and all that kind of awesomeness, and with secondary stats, which will also be allowed to roll on an item, you will see things like movement speed, magic find, gold find, that sort of stuff. Besides those changes to items, there will also be a legendary revamp where all the legendary items will actually be changed completely, making them much more unique, giving them unique abilities, and besides that, new ones will be added as might be expected. There will also be a completely new class that you can play, the Crusader. The Crusader is a mid-range melee character. Now let's explain that a little bit. It's a bit of a tricky system because obviously normally you see warriors with huge shields and a sword and all that kind of awesomeness, and you can't really hit any enemies that are on a little bit of a distance. Well, the Crusader will be able to do that. Besides just short-range melee combat, a Crusader is also able to actually have some mid-range lengthy attacks. So that means you are not quite, you're not quite a demon hunter with a lot of range. You're also not quite a barbarian where you're just sort of really short range, but you're kind of in between those two. So I'm very curious. I personally haven't had the chance to play it yet, but it seems to be very awesome and I'm definitely gonna give it a try. Now all the other classes, as you might have expected, are also gonna get changed abilities and they will just be played slightly differently. There will be nerfs, there will be buffs, things will be changing, but in the end it will just be a lot more fun to play. Next up, Paragon levels. Paragon levels are changed pretty much completely. It used to be a level 100 cap for the Paragon levels, but they actually decided to change this up and actually basically make this unlimited, uncapped. With that, all the Paragon levels will actually be shared among all your characters. So basically it's like an account-wide sort of leveling system that will allow you to progress on every single character, but with your entire account combined. Paragon levels will actually also give you slight little improvements every time you level up, so you can actually level up after hitting the max level cap of 70. With little tiny increments of improvements as soon as you hit a new Paragon level. Now as you might have guessed, all the experience after level 100 is just gonna go up completely exponentially, so it's going to take a whole lot of time to even reach something like maybe 1000. I wonder how long that will take. It will take ages. In the original Diablo 3 we had a couple of different difficulties, right? We had 4 of them. It was normal, Nightmare, Hell and Inferno. Now with the expansion Reaper of Souls they're actually going to change this completely. Leveling will be a lot more dynamic because of this. In the original game you would actually need to complete 3 difficulties, 3 full runs of the game before you would be able to actually run Inferno. Well, right now they are going to change this with a dynamic sort of system where actual monsters will level up with you. And you can actually change the difficulty while already in the game. Besides that, the monster power system will also be changed. Basically, the game will now have 10 different difficulties, which each and every one that is harder, it will actually give you more loot, more rewards, and obviously a whole lot more monsters, more HP on those monsters, more strength on those monsters, and in the end it will just be a whole lot harder to play as soon as you up a difficulty. So playing efficiently through the final difficulty will be very difficult. Also, there will be a new NPC added into the game. Just like the blacksmith, it's kind of an NPC that will give you a couple of abilities that you can use. It's going to be called the Mystic, and it has 2 abilities. First, we got the enchanting system, which basically allows you to reroll stats on an item that you don't need into better stats. And besides that, it also has transmogrification, which is something that we already saw in earlier Blizzard titles such as World of Warcraft, where you can basically change the look of items. So let's say you really like the new helmet you got for the stats that it got on it, but you hate the look, well, you can actually transmog it to something that looks a lot more awesome, so you can pretty much look sexy 24/7. Because that's all what we want, right? And last but not least, Blizzard decided to add clans and communities into Diablo 3. Now, whenever you were playing Diablo 3, it always felt a little bit tricky because it wasn't really a social game. You didn't really meet any people. Right now you can actually have clans, which is, you know, just like a guild in World of Warcraft pretty much, where you can have like a select group of friends that you like to be leveling with or like to be grinding with or whatever. And then there's communities with people that actually share the same subject. So there's already a LowkoTV community out on the EU server. I would actually recommend you go check that one out. I am very curious what you are most looking forward to in Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Let me know in the comment section right below that like button. Other than that, I want to thank you guys all for watching this video. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a live game of StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. Today I'm playing a live game. You might have already noticed by the clicking of my keyboard.